Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about the Eternals. That's right, Eternals is the newest MCU movie. Of course, you know if you followed my channel for some time, I've done reviews for all the MCU movies because I love them all. So obviously to various degrees. My least favorite MCU movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I would say that's my least favorite, but I would still give it like an 8 out of 10. It's still an enjoyable movie, has some really funny moments. So that's where I stand with the MCU. So it can vary from 8 to 10. There's only 3 MCU movies that I've given a 10 to, or 2 MCU movies. But what do I give this one? Does this one stand in the top 10 or the bottom 20? Let me get through this. First of all, I'm gonna say I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I think I liked it more than I thought I was going to, and I was excited for the movie, but I didn't know where it was going to land for me, especially when the reviews started coming out from the critics. I'm like, oh man, this could be Marvel's first bomb. Am I gonna feel this way too? Because I did agree with the critics on the first Suicide Squad movie. I did agree with them on some other films that I can't really remember right now. The Hellboy reboot that came out in 2019. I was like, yeah, these movies are not that great. Especially that Hellboy movie. I love the first 2 movies with Ron Perlman and directed by Guillermo del Toro, but that second one, I love David Harbour, but that movie, yeah. This movie, however, I disagree with the critics, the majority of them, wholeheartedly. I really enjoyed this cast. I thought all of them meshed well with each other, including Angelina Jolie, who you would have thought that she might have gotten the biggest screen time, but she didn't. She was a team player in all of this. This felt like a true team movie. Of course, certain characters get a lot more time than others. This is not a spoiler, but like Cersei and Icarus, I feel are characters that get the most focus in this movie. Maybe even Sprite as well. And Kingo got some pretty good spotlight on him, and Gilgamesh, and Ajak. But there are twists and turns in this movie that I really, really enjoyed, and how it expands on the MCU is really interesting too. And going back and looking at thinking about certain characters of the past, if you've seen the trailers, Thanos is brought up in the trailers at several moments in the movie, and it makes your view on Thanos more interesting than it was before. Some people already thought he was an interesting villain before, but this even sheds even more light on Thanos that I might have to talk about in a separate video, because it's pretty interesting. I saw Screen Crush's video of the Thanos stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And there's a lot of other things in the MCU that it touches on, that when you go back thinking about some of the other stuff we've seen in the past about Celestials before, it kind of gives more light on them that we never thought about. This is more grander than we ever thought about. Like Ego, the living planet, played by Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You look at him a lot more differently, I think, after seeing this movie and understanding more about Celestials and Deviants and Eternals. I'm not going to say, obviously, I don't want this to be a spoiler discussion, but yeah, it really is interesting how this expands on the mythology of what we thought we already knew, and what could come after this is really interesting. The implications of it all, I thought, were really cool. I will say Kit Harington, who plays Dane Whitman in the movie, his role is very small, but if you go into the research of the character he's playing, obviously he'll probably have a bigger role, not just in the Eternals' lives, but in the Avengers' lives as well, going down forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of his character, because we don't really get to know his character that much, other than some little hints here and there. But I get it. The movie is already stacked with so many characters. There's flashbacks in this movie, and that's not a spoiler. I think some people are aware of that if you watch the trailers. The movie does go back and forth a lot. And I know some people, that's one of the critical aspects of the film for a lot of people. I felt it was really great. The first flashback I remember, they don't let you know right away that it's a flashback. Like they hold the year at first, and then you realize it's a flashback because clearly they're in the past, and then they show the year afterwards. But then once they start showing the year for the rest of the flashbacks, the years that they go through, it becomes pretty easy to pick up. I actually didn't mind the back and forth between that. I thought it was perfect, in my opinion. I know that's a big critical issue from a lot of critics, was the pacing of the movie, but I disagree. I think I liked seeing a lot of the past stuff and going back and forth in the present day and seeing what was leading up to, because there is a twist in the movie that one of the flashbacks do reveal towards the end that is very pivotal to the film. And I think doing it this way was a lot more smarter, because the payoff, I think, paid off well, for me anyways. The special effects were great. Some people are complaining about one that happens in the end credit scene. I can see that a little bit, but it's such a brief moment. It didn't ruin it for me. It didn't take me out of it. Might take out people who are sensitive about special effects. But yeah, there are two really good end credit scenes that are worth sticking around for. I'll say that. And I'm not the best person to explain them, although I do have a theory about a specific voice that we hear in one of the end credit scenes. If you've seen the movie, you know the voice that I'm talking about. I'll just leave it at that. Because there are several voices, two in particular. One that you can tell right away who it is, and another one you don't really know who it is, but a lot of people are already theorizing about it. With that being said, yeah, I thought that was a really nice entry into the MCU, and I'm going to tell you now, I just put it in my ranking on Letterboxd, and it made my top 10. It didn't make my top 5, but it is in my top 10. So maybe I'll have to do... I want to wait for Hawkeye to come out because I'm curious on whether that's going to land on my list. And then after Hawkeye and Spider-Man No Way Home, I'll do an updated best to or worst to best list for the MCU. With that being said, but I'll tell you what, none of them can get any lower than... Well, maybe they can. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Eternals definitely is not down there for me. I probably am one of the few that will say this. I probably enjoyed it more than Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I like that movie too. But lots of people I know were like raving about that movie. And then I saw it. I'm like, okay, it was good. But I wouldn't say this is like one of the top 10 best MCU movies of all time. But okay, to each their own. For me, I think Eternals was the better of the two movies. I even liked it more than Black Widow. So that's just my opinion. Leave down your comments, your opinions in the comments section below and tell me what you guys thought. Did you see Eternals yet? Are you looking forward to it if you haven't seen it yet? Let me know in the comments section below. No spoilers. Keep it spoiler free. Maybe I'll make a spoiler video tomorrow because yeah, I feel like there's some stuff I should talk about in a spoilery more discussion. So go and check it out. Decide for yourself. Don't worry about the critics. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Like I did. I don't agree with the critics on this one. So go check it out. I would give this movie like an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5. So with that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.